Great to be with you, practicing with you. So we're going to get right into it. This class is going to be a core class which correlates with what we call the third chakra or energy center in yogic science, Manipura chakra. And the third chakra is your power center. So we're going to use some technology tonight, some yogic scientific technology to activate this third chakra, because chakras or energy centers are always either in a state of opening or in a state of closing. And these energy centers direct energy to where it needs to go. And the third chakra is a very important place as far as energetically. It's almost like our fuel tank for energy. And it fuels a way to shift certain inertias with willpower and intention. So we're really going to work with a couple different breaths tonight in postures, so I want to just go over those quickly. One breath that we're going to use is called Kapalabhati breath, or breath of fire. And so just pretend like you have a birthday cake in front of you, and we're just going to blow out the candle. So we're going to take a big inhale and then blow out the candle. And if you notice, try that a few times and notice the abdomen. And so this is an active exhale, and then the inhale is passive. It just happens. So now we're just going to switch that up gently into the nose, and if you can breathe through the nose, and so it looks like this. And don't blow out your birthday candles with your nose, that's for sure, right? But we can try this with the breath and really notice how that navel pulls back to the spine, really activating this core area we're going to work with tonight. So it sounds like this. And we just get a little rhythm going. And take it at your own pace. And keep the face and the jaw and the eyes and everything relaxed. So that's one breath we're going to be using tonight. And if that doesn't work for you, please just do long, slow, deep breathing when I mention that breath. Also, these breaths, both of these technologies, work better on an empty stomach. So if you just had a full meal or something like that, I'd recommend just doing the long, slow, deep breathing. But this technology can really activate this chakra, this power center, to get some heat. In yoga, we call that tapas, this burning heat that we use for will and intention to change inertia's course. So the second technology that we're going to use is called Uddiyana Bandha. And so we're just going to do a simple version of this, and this is really sort of simple. It's always on the exhale, and so just take a big exhale and pull that navel back towards the spine and up under the rib cage a little bit, and just hold the breath there. And then, if you can, inhale into the chest and the rib cage a little bit. And you'll see that that navel pulls up underneath the rib cage a little bit. Okay, you can relax that one. And try it one more time. Exhale, pull the navel back towards the spine. We really squeeze the breath out, and then take that last little sip into the inhale, into the chest and rib cage. And you'll see that it pulls up and under, and bandhas seal energy. And this particular bandha really activates that third chakra, Manipura chakra, energy center. So we're going to use both of those technologies tonight. So please take long, slow, deep breathing if you need it. So make sure you're honoring your practice and you're never going over your edge. So let's start by creating heat, and that's what happens. The element here associated with the third chakra is actually fire, Agni, we would say. And so if we just let the hands float up off the knees and take the palms together and just start to rub the palms together, we create this heat and this friction. And this is sort of what we're doing with our posture practices tonight. Really creating heat and friction and power And the first two chakras, the first chakra is about molecules and heavy, dense materials and atoms and electrons. And then the second chakra sort of is the movement. It's the element of the second chakra is water. So we need water to make viscosity. And then the third chakra is this fire chakra. So here we are creating this heat, and we do this all in our warm-up. So once you have that heat, just take that and rest that right there on the third chakra area, which is the solar plex region, which is above the navel and below the rib cage. And just close the eyes and feel yourself absorbing that heat into this body. Breathing long, slow, and deep here to start, closing the eyes. And just noticing that center. And each one of these chakras actually operates at a frequency. So the frequency here is actually E, the key of E. And just feel that center as you breathe. And just notice, because at the end of practice, we're really going to check in with that area. And let's get a little bit of heat going in the joints and just a little bit of warm-ups here. As you exhale, just let those hands extend long. We're going to roll out the wrists a little bit, do little circles with the wrists. Maybe open the fingers and open the hands and really get those little minor chakras, energy centers in the palms of the hands going. And then roll out the wrists a little bit. Breathing long, slow, and deep here. And then gently leaning back into the hands, bring the knees together to midline and lengthen those legs long and bounce them out. There's also something else that we do to activate postures here to really get this heat and warmth in the postures. And I just want to go over that just really quickly. After you bounce out the legs, point and flex the toes, spread the toes, roll the ankles, get that heat, that friction, just like we did into the hands, just into these joints that we're really going to work tonight. And I just want to go over internal and external rotation. I'm going to say that a lot tonight as we practice. So I just want you to know what it is. Coming back into seated Sukhasana. So we think of this spine or this midline, the median line or the axial line. And this is your center, this line that runs right down the center. Think of your spine. And I'm just going to say words like internal rotation and external rotation. So I want you to know what that means. So if we take our hands out, we can see this easily, have the palms facing each other. And internal rotation, so if I was to internally rotate my arms, I'm inwardly rotating. My thumbs are moving towards this midline. And so internally rotating the forearm would look like that. Internally rotating the upper arm and the forearm would look like that. So this is internal rotation. And we can do it with the arms and the legs, and we're going to do a lot tonight. We really want to activate these postures. External rotation is the opposite. So it's turning away from this midline. So this would be external rotation. External rotation. Internal rotation, external rotation. So we're going to think about that tonight as we move through our postures. So just take a few deep breaths here as you close the eyes. And the last thing I just want to mention here is the law of inertia, because we really work with the law of inertia here. And so if you don't know what that is, anything in motion stays in motion. So if we took a roller coaster, for instance, and we had a track that went on forever, if you took it high enough and just dropped it and there was no friction in the wheels, this is a hypothetical situation, no friction or nothing, stopping it. That would stay in motion until some other force acted on it to stop it. And so we work with inertia here in the third chakra, so we can think of that in our lives even. So, if you miss a day of your yoga practice, the next day it's easier to miss it again. Because your inertia is moving towards that. So we really need to interject a will or an intention or tapas. And that's where, when we activate this third chakra, what we're doing today or tonight, really helps. We can shift and we can create the life we really want to create. We can take our will and turn that into manifestation. So intention and will to move inertia in the direction that we really want it to. So we're really going to work with that tonight. On that next inhale, just come forward onto hands and knees, coming into table position here. Get the wrists underneath the shoulders, the fingers are spread wide, and this is our first internal rotation. Start to internally rotate the forearms so you get to this point here where the thumb and pointer fingers sort of meet. So that's this internal rotation of the forearms and external rotation of the upper arms. And we really start to grab the mat. If you can, press the tops of the feet into the mat. And it's almost like you're trying to pull the hands and the knees together. This is activating. You'll feel that, maybe feel that in the solar plex region, in the core region. And we're just going to do a few cat-cows here on an exhale. Really press out through the back of the heart. Drop that head. On that inhale, really pull the hands back towards the knees and the knees towards the hands. So the heels of the hands are being pulled back. We pull that heart through. On an exhale, really press it out and away. Let that head drop. Good. Inhale, pull the hands towards the body. Pull that heart through. Drop the belly. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. After that next inhale, drop that belly. We'll come back to a neutral spine, and we're going to come into for our first downward facing dog. So think of it the same way. Internal rotation of the forearms, external rotation of the upper arms. We're going to tuck the toes and push the hips back towards the heels here, and then push it up in that V shape, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Let the head hang. Start to paddle out the heels here. So we're really activating. We're getting some heat, some fire, some Agni in the ankles. So you're walking your dog out here, press it back and away. And you can even internally rotate the thighs towards each other a little bit and sort of pull the hands back towards the feet, almost like you're trying to stretch that mat between the hands and the feet. Good, breathing, and then maybe come up onto the toes if that's available. Coming up onto the toes, and then exhale, reaching the heels towards the mat. They don't have to touch the mat. Just pedal them out a few times, maybe bending in the knees here. And you may even want to do that. We're still warming up here, bending the knees, and then pressing out through the hips. Inhaling, bending the knees. Exhale, press out through the hips. And then inhale, maybe press up onto the toes here. Yeah, take a few breaths. Internally rotating the forearms, externally rotating the upper arms. Press those heels back towards the mat. Bend knees, look between thumbs. Step, hop, or walk up to the hands here for your first forward bend here. So lift the toes, start to grab the mat. We're stretching that mat between the feet. There's an internal rotation of the thighs here as you lift out through the sits bones. Let the head hang. There's a nice bend in the knees here. We're still warming up. We're going to get some of that heat, some of that friction, sort of the theme of this class. Bending the knees, and then exhale, press out through. We're not bouncing or anything. It's nice and slow. We're bending the knees, softening in the knees.
And then exhale, press out through the sits bones. Internally rotate, stretch that mat between the feet. You're activating the posture. Bend the knees, really soften. One more time. Press it on out. Let everything go. Good. Soften knees, T arms. Stretch that mat between the feet. Reverse swan dive all the way up, reaching past the fingertips. Pretend like your fingers are on fire, like the tips of the flames of fire. Slight back bend from the bra line or across the shoulders. Start to internally rotate the thighs. Lift the kneecaps as you press the hands into each other evenly. Bring that down through heart center and then gently drop to the side body. Lifting the toes, grabbing the mat, stretching the mat, lifting the kneecaps, activating the glutes. Lift out through the crown. And we're going to just sweep those arms up on a nice big inhale. And on an exhale, interlace the fingers. Keep that pointer finger up. And we're just going to drop to that left side. And we're going to reveal the right rib cage here. So those intercostal muscles between the ribs here in this side stretch. And if you can breathe deep into it, breathe deep into that right side. Open the rib cage. We're already starting to get in that area of the core. You're stretching the mat between the feet, internally rotating the thighs, lifting the kneecaps. So everything's active from the waist down. Inhale back through center. Exhale, drop to the right side. We're revealing that left side of the rib cage. Breathe, open up that rib cage. Reach through the fingertips. So there's energy tonight. Inhale back through center. And so you can stay right with this if you like, or if it's available, you may even want to drop that left arm this time and just reach out through that fingertips and take the fingertips on that left side down near the knee and sort of pull down on the fingers like they dig into the leg a little bit, and you can pull down and just get that little extra length, really opening the rib cage. Breathe into that side of the body. Nice, long, slow, deep breathing. Sweeping that left arm back. We can touch the hands, kiss at the top, and then gently drop that right hand if it's available. Reaching out through those left fingertips. They're on fire. They're like flames. They're sparkly. Breathe into that left side. Inhale, let's sweep that right hand back on up. Press those hands into each other evenly. Take that little slight back bend from the shoulders. The chin is parallel. And then gently press the hands into each other evenly as you pull them down into heart center. And then drop the hands to side body. Come back into your Tadasana or mountain pose. Lift the toes. Grab that mat. Stretch the mat between the feet. And we're going to come into that Kapalabhati breathing or long, slow, deep breathing. So remember, it's that breath of fire where we And then on that last one, exhale, pull the navel towards the spine. Uddiyana Bandha. Take that last little breath up into the upper rib cage. Pull that navel up under a hold, if it's available. And then exhale out the nose. Our first posture tonight, Virabhadrasana 1. Great for the third chakra, great for activating. So from the top of the mat here, we're just going to gently step back with that right foot, and we're going to put it on a 45-degree angle. So we're cutting an edge with that back foot.
And so we want to be on almost like we're on railroad tracks here. So we don't want the hips sort of off to the side like this. We want the hips nice and square. We have this knee and we're going to sink in over the ankle, and it's an internal rotation there at the back with that back foot. We're internally rotating that back leg, and we're externally rotating the front leg a little bit. And it almost feels like you can stretch that mat between the feet. So this is really, really active. We have nice square hips here. We have a nice square heart. That knee is over the ankle in the front here. You're grabbing the mat with the toes, and everything is active. And you can stay here just in power posture with the hands here if this is available, or we can activate by sweeping those arms up and sort of framing the ears with the arms. Spread the fingers wide. Again, energy out through the hands, internally rotating that back leg, externally rotating that front leg. We're stretching that mat between the feet. Bring the chin parallel to the floor. And again, we're going to either do long, slow, deep breathing, or we're going to come into Kapalabhati, breath of fire. Take it at your own pace. Creating that internal heat. We direct this power with our will, and we create these inertias in our life. Keep it going. If you need to come out at any time. Beautiful. Exhale. Inhale. On that next exhale, we're going to pull the navel back towards the spine, and then take a slight little back bend out of the shoulders, and then take that breath up into the rib cage, Uddiyana Bandha. Pull that navel up and under. Holding. And then exhale, dropping the hands behind the back if it's available, or staying right where you are, interlacing the fingers, and then exhale, maybe folding forward. Just take a breath here, a few breaths here. Remember, you're activating this posture by stretching that mat. Inhale, press into the feet. Slowly come on up. Squeeze the scapula down the back. Release the hands and step that back foot forward and roll it out. And so we can come back into our Tadasana, lift the toes, grab the mat, stretch that mat with the feet, turn the palms out, lift up through, so we're expanding the rib cage here, we're lifting the ribs up out of the hips, turn the palms out, so this external rotation here of the hands. Chin is parallel, and just take a few more of those Kapalabhati breaths. Exhale. Pull that navel up under this rib cage a little bit, and then take that last little breath into the upper chest. Uddiyana Bandha. Hold. Exhale. Taking warrior one on the other side here. This time stepping back with that left foot. We're going to cut that edge with the back foot. We kind of have that front leg straight just so we can get that angle. We step that foot out. We're on railroad tracks here. Starting to turn the hips towards the front, cutting an edge with that back foot, and then exhale. Sink down into it till that knee is right over the ankle if that's available, wherever you are in the practice. So it might not look like that for you. Taking the hands to the hips here in power posture, bringing the elbows together behind the back a little bit, really helps us. Remember, internal rotation of that back leg, external rotation of the front. So the knee almost drops out towards the pinky toe there a little bit. Then we can inhale, sweep those arms. Sink down into it, slight back bend, chin parallel. And this time we're just going to activate the arms. We're just going to internally and externally rotate the hands and arms here just a little bit as you breathe. Really creating heat tonight. You're stretching that mat between the feet. And then again, turn the palms towards each other. Really reach out, lift those ribs out of the hips. The chin is parallel. You're stretching that mat between the feet. And here we can either take long, slow, deep breathing or that Kapalabhati breath. That mat between the feet, creating that tapas, that agni, that fire. Exhale, pull the navel towards the spine. Inhale into the upper chest and ribs, Uddiyana Bandha. Hold. Exhale. Gently letting the hands fall behind the back, if that's available, or stay right where you are. Interlace the fingers, squeeze the scapula, exhale, folding forward with Yoga Mudra, only if available. Take a few breaths here. Internally rotate back leg, externally rotate front leg, stretch that mat between the feet, gazes down, breathing. Pressing through the feet, that gives us our power, our will to float that torso, squeeze the scapula, release the hands, power posture, stepping that back foot forward. Start to roll out the legs a little bit here, roll out the ankles. Breathing, and then finally coming back into Tadasana, lifting the toes, grab the mat, stretch the mat with the feet here. We can release the hands, turn the palms out, externally rotate the forearms from the elbows under, stretching the mat. So there's an internal rotation of the thighs, and that lifts the kneecaps. Active, active, active. Coming back into Kapalabhati, breath of fire. And then pull that navel back towards the spine. Exhale. Take that last little breath up into the rib cage and upper chest. Pull that navel up and under, Uddiyana Bandha. And then exhale. Keep the posture active. So if we think of a roller coaster, that's the way I kind of thought of it here. This is kind of cool. The first chakra would sort of be the car of the roller coaster, like all the physicality of the vehicle, representing, this body and survival, Muladhara chakra, the root chakra. And then the second chakra sort of brings that motion, that energy that we need to get molecules and atoms flowing together to create a fire. So think of, when you're scared going up that roller coaster, when you hear the chain, and you're going up towards that first drop. And you can think of the third chakra as like the tracks of the roller coaster, because they're going to guide that inertia, that energy, as it falls over the top. And maybe you'll come straight down, and then you'll do one like this, and then do a loop-de-loop like this. And so we can think of will and intention as the tracks for the roller coaster, to guide it in the directions that we want, to take this inertia and guide it. And so when we work with this third chakra, we really get to work with our will. And in yoga, we should put our tapas into svadhyaya, which is self-study or yogic practice, and Ishvara Pranidhana, knowing ourselves bigger than just this person. And there's a bigger, even a bigger will guiding you. Great. We're just going to step the feet out here, coming into a wide-legged situation. We're going to sort of internally rotate the feet here, so we have almost like we're cutting an edge with the feet. Taking the hands to the hips, and we're going to keep that left foot on a 45-degree angle, and we're just going to turn the right foot out towards the front of the mat. And if you notice, your heel and insole should be close to one straight line here. We have the knee is straight for right now, and we want to keep the hips square to the front of the mat and the heart square to the front of the mat. On that next inhale, you can float the arms up, and it's really nice to turn the palms up and see what happens with the shoulders. So you're turning the palms up here, and then turn from the forearms. So it's a little internal rotation of the forearms as you put the palms down a little bit. But this helps get the shoulders down the back. Turning and looking over that right middle finger, and then soften into that front knee till you can't see the toe anymore, coming into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. And again, it's this internal rotation of the back leg, external rotation of the front leg, and we're sort of stretching that mat between the feet. Feel that energy out through the hands. The gaze, or the drishti or focal point, is right over that curvature of that middle finger. Keep that one-pointed attention, breathing here in Warrior 2. And you could come to long, slow, deep breathing, or maybe get that Kapalabhati breathing. Exhale. Turn that front palm, and then gently, if it's available, drop that back hand and just float that front hand up, and we're just really going to reveal that rib cage there. Opening up the rib cage, really breathing into it, into reverse warrior or exalted warrior. Breathe long, slow, and deep here. And then on that next exhale, we're just going to come back through, and we're going to come all the way through. And if it's available, maybe drop the hand to the floor and open up towards the front of the room so we could come to here for our side stretch. Or some people like to just rest that forearm, and we can just reach that arm across the ear, reaching out through those right fingertips, breathing. Get some energy in the hands here. You're stretching that mat between the feet. Really make this posture active. And again, we can just take a few rounds of breath of fire if it's available. And there's no pressure. We're not pushing down on that leg in the front. It's just sort of resting there if we have the arm here. Good. Inhale, press through the feet. Float the arms back to T. Turn that front foot forward. Take the hands to power posture. And then maybe exhale, folding forward here, just from the hips. Let it all go. We can drop the hands here. Maybe they reach the mat, maybe they don't. Let the head hang. Take a few breaths. Inhale, float those arms to T, and we're going to float the torso on up. This time, we take that right foot and we take it on a 45, and it's probably already close to 45 where you're cutting an edge, and turn that left foot out to the other side of the mat. We still have that knee, so we're not bent in the knee yet. Let's take the hands, turn the palms up, and then sort of reach out through the fingertips, and look, the shoulder blades sort of move down the back a little bit, and then turn the palms down from the elbows under. Start to sink into that front knee, taking the gaze over that hand in the front, sinking the knee over the ankle here. Breathing. Take a look, find your drishti right over that little curvature of the middle finger. We have the hips square to the front of the mat, the heart square to the front of the mat. We have this line drawn from the heel to the insole. And see if this time you can sort of pull, it's almost like you're trying to pull the feet together this time to activate on the other side. So we're sort of pulling the feet together. We're externally rotating that front leg, internally rotating the back leg. So we cut that edge, keep that gaze, keep that breath. And if you want, you could come to Kapalabhati. Exhale. Flipping that front palm, just drop that back arm, let it slide down the back of the leg, really reach out through that hand, keep that breath, open up the rib cage there. So we're really opening that left rib cage, reaching through the fingertips. Getting some movement in that core area. And then on your next exhale, sort of cartwheel it forward here. Exhaling, we could bring the hand all the way down and open up towards the front of the mat with side stretch here, really bending into the knees. Or we can take it with the forearm with the palm face up, the arm alongside the ear here. So it's up to you, whichever way. I'll demonstrate the other way here where we sort of open all the way up. You could always use a block underneath your hands if you need it here. So this is a great opportunity for the block. If you have that, you can sink into that knee, externally rotating the front leg, internally rotating the back leg, making this posture active. And here we can take Kapalabhati breath. Press through the feet, slowly coming back on up, turning that foot forward. We have both feet forward now on that 45, hands to the hips here. Exhale, start to hinge at the hips, coming forward, maybe dropping the hands here, letting the head hang. You could always use the block here too if you want. Give the head a little yes and no.
gently, hands to hips, slowly hinging at the hips, slowly coming on back up. And then heel toe those feet together. And come into Tadasana. Lift the toes, grab the mat. Maybe have about a fist length between the feet. We're stretching that mat, so there's internal rotation of the thighs. So we lift those kneecaps. We make this posture active. Take the shoulders to the ears, press them back and away. Reach through the fingertips, and then turn the palms out. So you're externally rotating the forearms from the elbows under, stretching the mat, coming to Kapalabhati breathing or long, slow, deep breathing if you've had enough. Exhale, pull that navel up under the rib cage, and then inhale into that upper chest region gently. Uddiyana Bandha. And then exhale, release. Soften the knees. Inhale, sweep those arms. Slight back bend, broad line. Exhale, lead heart, hinge hips, forward bend. Bend knees, plant hands, step back right, step back left. Find your downward facing dog, and then we're just going to shift forward into a push-up plank position here. And so here, if you want, you could drop the knees if this is what your practice involves, or keep those toe tucked, and we want the body in one straight line here. The fingers are spread wide, and it's almost like you're trying to pull the heels of the hands back towards the feet. And we have the heels are over the balls of the feet. We're maybe about hip distance apart with the feet. Body's in one straight line. And here you could come to that long, slow, deep breathing or Kapalabhati breathing. Exhale. If you want a challenge here, you could even lift one leg, take a few breaths. Drop that foot, lift the other leg. Exhale, drop that foot. And then maybe coming into pumping plank where we inhale, it's almost like you're coming into down dog, but you're not fully coming into down dog. And then on the exhale, and then inhale forward into plank. Exhale, drop the knees, just take a few breaths here. Next we're going to come into side plank. We're going to take that right hand, bring it right to the center of the mat, spread the fingers wide here, and your wrist is a little bit further out than your shoulder here, so it's not right underneath your shoulder, it's a little bit further out. And then take that right knee and draw a line straight back. Press the feet together. So if we're going to modify side plank, we're going to keep that right knee on the floor. And I'll show you the modified version first. We'll just extend out through that left foot. And if it's available, you could stay right here. This is great. Or flipping that left hand, opening the heart towards the front of the room. So this is modified version with the knee down. That's beautiful. If you want full side plank, we're going to tuck the toes, sort of squeeze the legs together. Stretch that mat between the feet and the hands, and then gently drop the sides of the feet towards the floor and just flip that arm back up, breathing here. And where you're squeezing the legs together,
You can even flex the feet. Gently bringing that left hand back down and under. Get the toes back under and drop those knees and just take a few deep breaths here. This time we're going to bring the left hand to the center of the mat. We're going to draw an imaginary line straight back and we're going to line it up with that left knee. We're going to squeeze the thighs together. If you're modifying, you keep that left knee down, extend through the right, flip that on up and open to the back side of the room. So this is modified version here, or full version. Really squeeze those legs together, tuck the toes, lift the knees, and then just let the feet fall to the side, stacking the feet, flex those feet, open up the hands, squeeze the legs together, breathing, the gaze is down at the hand on the floor. Gently let that right hand back on down. Get the toes back under. Get that left hand back on out. Drop the knees here. Take a few breaths. Gently dropping one forearm to the mat, then the other forearm to the mat. Get those elbows under the shoulders. Get the fingers spread wide here. So you could stay here just with the knees dropped here for forearm plank. Or if we want the full version, we're going to tuck the toes, press out through the heels. It's almost like you're pulling back on the forearms. And we come into this forearm plank with the body in one straight line. Kapalabhati breathing, or long, slow, deep. Exhale, drop the knees, flatten the pelvis towards the floor. Start to pull back on the forearms, press the pubic bone into the mat, get the shoulders back and away, down the back. And it's almost like you're sort of embracing the bones with the muscles. It's like giving the muscles a hug as you sort of activate everything in the body. Really breathe. Embracing the bones, really stretching out through the toes, active, active, active. So after a practice like this, our willpower is going to be stronger and energy follows will. We're the tracks of the roller coaster with our will. We're bringing our energy into the manifestations we want. We're taking our energy and putting it into what we want to happen with it, instead of just letting inertia take us in all different directions. Gently pressing the hips back to the heels as you tuck the toes under, walk the hands back towards this body. As the hips come to the heels, kick those legs around, swing the legs around here, coming in for Tadasana. Give the legs a little bit of a bounce here. Let the feet fall from side to side. Coming in for our boat pose, stepping one foot back towards the mat, then the other foot back, just coming into tree stump for a minute here. Just giving this body a nice hug, dropping the chin to the chest here. Seeing our own virtuosity and really creating this heat. And see if you can feel heat in the body here. We really created tapas. Tapas, heat for change. And in yoga we have this terminology, abhyasa and vairagya. And so abhyasa means practice, practice, practice. It means putting energy into. Vairagya means to, let go or surrender into this moment. And then we create this sort of mastery in our life. So I kind of think of it, I play guitar, and at first when I used to have to learn the chords, it was really hard because changing chords, I'd have to look at it, I had to think about the fingers. Even when I do more complex stuff now, I really have to think about it, look at it. But you know, after playing for years and years, you know, practice, now you don't even have to look and your fingers just go. So you can bring that amount of surrender into the practice, and then you see mastery. You can notice the subtleties of everything happening in your guitar playing because you're not so focused on C chord, D chord, and what it actually is, and you have to think about it. And yoga is the same way, the way that we create this will, this intention, and we know how to surrender, and we know how to practice. We know what to put our will into, and then we can put our will into something in this surrendered way and move with ease. From here, we're coming into our boat pose. Open the arms here, step the feet out a little bit. Some people like to grab behind the thighs, and I'd recommend that at first. And we don't ever want to sort of fall backwards on this. We really want to sort of pull the heart towards the legs here. And maybe you're just one leg today. Maybe this leg, and we're breathing here, and then we can take the other leg and we can breathe here. Or if it's available, maybe floating the calves parallel to the floor and finding that balance. And you could hold onto the thighs here. If you want a little bit more challenge for the core, you can take the hands, reach through the fingertips. We're flexing the feet, and some people maybe will extend the legs long. We're going to keep the calves parallel to the floor tonight. Breathing, and it's almost like you're reaching through the fingertips. You're trying to draw the heart towards the thighs here. Breathing in your boat pose. And then gently grabbing behind the thighs here, slowly allowing one foot down, then the other foot down, and then bring those knees into the chest. And we can take an Uddiyana Bandha here if we like, or just long, slow, deep breathing. If you want, exhale, pull the navel towards the spine, and then breathe into the upper part of the chest a little bit. Pull that navel a little bit further under, hold. And then exhale. Gently, we're going to challenge the core here, taking the palms out, reach through the fingertips. So if it's available, if you have lower back issues, you might want to take the hands and lower down like this. But if it's available, we can start to lower down gently, challenging that core, activating Manipura chakra, the third chakra. Vertebra by vertebra, we come down to the mat here. Turn the palms down towards the mat. Lengthen the feet long, and externally and internally rotate the thighs so the head of the femur is sort of moving in the hip girdle here. Just get that moving a little bit, get that fire, that friction. That's what the third chakra is all about, fire. Think of the sun, a glowing orb, a fuel tank of energy, waiting to be directed into what we want with our will and intention. And so it's a little bit deeper than desire. Desire is a second chakra thing. Will and desire coming together is sort of like passion, really ignites even the heart. But we're overcoming desire. Sometimes it's inertia has us watching hours of Netflix, and then the next day it's easier to watch hours of Netflix again. So we got to break that inertia, do something else, use our power skillfully. That's what this class is all about. Coming in for Hinge Pose here. Flexing the feet here. I like to take the thumbs and take the palms down and just put one thumb underneath the buttocks a little bit and the other thumb, and we're really gluing the forearm to the mat here. Make sure you're honoring this body here. If they feel pain or discomfort, make sure you don't do this. On the next inhale, if it's available, press into the forearms and start to lift the heels off the mat, just about maybe 2 inches, breathing. Reaching, point the toes, reach out through the toes, and if it's available, inhale, hinge pose up. And maybe you'll get the feet over the hips or somewhere near it, and then roll out those ankles, point and flex the toes. And on the exhale, we're going to pierce the lips and exhale out the mouth as you slowly allow the heels to move towards the mat. Gently touching down to the mat. Take a few breaths of fire if it's available. Next, inhale. See if you can press into the forearms and lift those heels just off the mat, breathing. Make sure you're breathing here. Flex the feet like you're standing on that wall in front of you. Next, inhale, hinge pose. And just take that here, breathing. And then pierce the lips, exhale out the mouth slowly. There might be shaking here. That's very common. It's a good sign that you're getting tapas burning away. The obstacles, dropping the heels to the mat. Good. Take a few deep breaths here. Our next posture is called Seesaw. Keeping the hands right where they are, keep those forearms glued to the mat. On an inhale, just raise the heels just about an inch. Exhale. Inhale, press into the forearms, raise the torso and look over the toes. Stretch pose, keep the breath long, slow and deep. Next exhale, drop the heels. Big inhale. Lift up out through the heart, press them into the mat, really ground down, and then exhale, gently lower the torso to the mat. Take a few deep breaths here. Next, inhale, raising the heels. Exhale. Inhale, press into the forearms, flex the feet, look over the toes, stretch pose, breathing. Exhale, gently let those heels drop towards the mat slowly. Big inhale, press into the forearms. Exhale, gently lower the torso. Take a few deep breaths. Really focus on that solar plex region and see if you can feel a difference there. One more. Don't hate the yoga teacher. On that next inhale, raise the heels about an inch. Exhale. Inhale, press into the forearms. Take a look over the toes, breathing. Stretch pose.
Exhale, gently lower those heels down to the mat. Inhale, press through the heart. Exhale, gently lower this body down to the mat. Releasing the hands from underneath the body, give the legs a little bounce here. Let the feet fall from side to side. When we work the core, we really bring nice blood flow to this area where there's a lot of internal organs. And now we get a nice detox move here right at the end of our practice, a nice little twist here, stepping the feet back towards this body. And we're just going to take that left leg and bring the left ankle on right underneath that right knee, if that's available. And then let that leg fall out like you're going to cross your legs, like you're sitting in a chair cross-legged. Take the arms out into a T position here. We can take the palms up and then turn the palms down from the elbows under. Really sort of feel the earth underneath this body. And then gently, we're just going to drop the knees to the left, squeezing the thighs into each other evenly. And then take and turn the gaze over that right shoulder. And when we do this, we really twist this torso. And when the diaphragm, when you breathe, the diaphragm has to move through this twisted torso space. When you inhale, the diaphragm moves down towards the perineum, and you exhale, elasticity of the lungs pulls that diaphragm back up. So it has to move through and bring blood flow to all those internal organs. Really great detox move. We're squeezing the thighs together. Really breathe deep here. Inhale, the head comes back through center, the knees come back through center, heel toe that foot back and under, extend or release that left leg back to the floor. This time we're going to take that right ankle underneath the left knee, come into that figure 4 position, then let that leg slide over the top, crossing the leg, heel toe that foot towards the center there, and then gently let the knees drop to the right as you look over the left shoulder, and try to keep the shoulder blades down so you're really pressing into the earth. It's almost like you're pressing the earth away rather than you having to hold anything. Really ground down into the earth, squeeze those thighs together, and really breathe that diaphragm through that twisted space. It's like a parachute that sits on the bottom of the rib cage. So as you inhale, it really blows out the belly a little bit, and then as you exhale, like we've been practicing Uddiyana Bandha, we're really making those exhales, pulling the navel up under the rib cage.
Next inhale, turning the head back through center, the knees come back through center. Heel toe that foot back under a little bit, and then release that right leg down to the mat. And we're just going to take Upanasana bellows pose here for just a second. On that next exhale, grab underneath the knees and pull those knees into the shoulders. Squeeze that breath out. And take a few of these. Then releasing the knees. See if you can clasp the peace fingers around the toes, coming into happy baby with the knees bent. This allows us to roll all the way over, and the knee will sort of catch us, and we can take it from side to side here. Flattening the spine. We really start to generate and move Kundalini energy with our will. All chakras move energy. They're like little circuit breakers and resistors. We'd blow out the circuits if these chakras weren't maintaining the balance. Coming back through center here, and then gently, easily, effortlessly dropping the feet to the floor. Dropping the arms to the floor, extend one leg towards the corner of the mat and the other leg towards the other corner of the mat. Externally rotate the thighs so the pinky toes move towards the floor, and we sort of open up the hips. We flatten that sacral area towards the mat. I'm going to recommend the palms facing down for grounding tonight. And as you breathe here, coming in for corpse pose, Shavasana, see if you can focus your attention on that third chakra area, below the rib cage and above the navel, and just see if you can feel a difference there. As you breathe long, slow, and deep, resting into the mat, letting it all go. Vairagya is complete surrender, complete detachment, nothing to do, nowhere to get to, just allowing energy to circulate throughout this entire body. If you can visualize or sense or imagine, however it happens for you, on the inhale, a glowing yellow sun burning. Remember, fire. And humans are the only animal to sort of master or control fire with our will. And fire always burns upward, attached to its fuel source. So as you breathe, feel this ball of light, this glowing sun, Manipura chakra, filling this body with this yellow, bright glow. Easier for you to practice tomorrow because you created inertia today. You created this positive inertia tapas towards the practice. Sometimes self-esteem is considered to be here in the third chakra because we use our will to create this person in the world, making these personal choices. And so we have created this upward inertia towards this practice, knowing ourselves deeper than the person. Loving this body, creating power and will and intention in our life. Feel that virtuosity come into your experience as you bring a voluntary smile to the face. Gently moving your attention to the hands, mentally first. Feel the hands and energy and sparkly hands. And then start to wiggle the fingers a little bit, start to roll the wrist. Waking this body, we can rock the head back and forth on the mat a little bit. And then let the body decide what movement it needs to make. Just making any involuntary movements. And then when you're ready, rolling over onto your right side, finding that fetal position with this body. And every moment we're born into the world again, and here we'll create a sankalpa or an intention. Where do we want to put this power that we created for our will? These tracks that our roller coaster is riding on, we can direct the tracks where we want to go. So thinking of something that you want to put your will into, that you want inertia behind. Inertia, energy stays in motion until it's stopped by another force. Repeating that intention internally to yourself like it's already happened. Next inhale, extending that top leg long, gently press into the palm, pushing the body up into a seated Sukhasana. And when you're ready, And when you're up and settled, bring the hands to heart center, Anjali hand mudra. Sit up a little bit taller. And I brought out the third chakra singing bowl tonight, which is in the key of E. So just listening to the frequency with an open heart. Thanking the teachers and the teachings. So tonight, Hatha Yoga, the chakra system, Tantric Yoga, this chakra theory. Thanking you for practicing, loving this body, choosing peace in our life makes a peaceful world. We're all connected. And then thanking you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to share the teachings and be an instrument of the teaching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Namaste.